Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Tenopa Tishta Didro Me Bhava Suto Kayo Me Bhava Supo Kayo Me Bhava Anurakto Me Bhava Sarva Siddhi Me Prayatsam Sarva Karma Sutsame Citam Shriyam Uruhum Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajra Mame Munsa Vajra Bhava Maha Samaya Sattva Ahum Pe Eho Shude Shude Hayamo Shude Shude Svoha Ram Ho Shude Shude Svoha Lam Ho Shude Shude Svoha Bamo Shude Shude Eyam Ram Lam Bam Shude Shude Svoha Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakya Munye Svoha. So we continue now with the explanation of the Guru Puja. We have stopped in the part where he's explaining prostrations. We reached to the verse 18, I suppose. Let me check. Yeah, verse 18. And one thing important for us to remember is that when we talk actually about the verses and so on, the verses are written in a very beautiful way, very poetic way, and so on. But they have a specific function. The function of the verses are to guide and direct our mind. So the sadhana, which means in Tibetan is gomde. Gomde, gom means to meditate, de means to recite. You know? Sometimes some of us may think that to meditate is just to empty our mind and not to think about nothing. It's not exactly like that. There is one part of meditation in which we need to be present at the present moment, and we do not follow many different thoughts. We need to be able to have control over our mind. So normally, when we are not meditating, most of us, when we say to the mind stays here, in a few seconds the mind is already somewhere else. Instead, we need to learn how to, in meditation, we need to learn how to have the control, to give a direction to our mind and the mind to follow that direction. But at the same time, the meditation mostly is not to empty our mind, but is to fill our mind with positive aspects that we want to get acquainted with, that we want to get familiarized with. Okay? So, what we do is that in this case, the verses helps us to direct our mind. So we will self-induce ourselves to certain stages of consciousness that normally we would not have naturally, spontaneously. So once we induce ourselves to these states of consciousness, we will get familiarized with it, with the objective that these states of consciousness will raise after in a spontaneous and natural way. That's our objective. So for example, at this moment of the practice, when we are in the moment of prostrations, What are the states of consciousness that we want to generate? Faith, respect, gratitude, humility. These are some of the qualities that we need to generate at this moment. So, it's not only a matter of reciting the verses. I can go and say, I can do the verses in Italian, in Portuguese, in English, in Tibetan. I can put my hands together, and I may be thinking about the movie that I saw yesterday. Okay? Or by what I'm going to have for dinner today. Or about my object of attraction or the object of aversion. So, if I do that, yes, I am reciting the Guru Puja very nicely. But I am not doing the practice. I'm reading the map. I'm not walking on the path. Okay? Remember that the sadhana, the words are very important. They are like a map for us that guide us on the process that we should do. But it's like, let's say, if we use a modern term, like is a GPS showing us in our meditation what we need to do. Turn left, turn right, go straight. Now, kindness. Now meditate on remember all sentient beings are around you, so generate love towards all of them. Now everything dissolves into light. Now generate yourself as the deity. It's like telling us what we need to do. But if I take a map and I simply read the map and I never go through the path, I would not make any much change. I will get familiarized with the map, but not with the path. So it's important to know well the map so we don't get lost on the path. But we need to walk. Otherwise, we will just be experts on the map. Okay? And what means to walk here? It means to do the actual meditation, to do the visualization, to put the efforts to induce ourselves in the different states of consciousness that we need to generate. Okay? So meditation here is not to empty our mind, but is to fill our mind with positive aspects that we want to get familiarized with. So in this specific case of prostration, what we want to fill our mind with is faith, respect, gratitude, humility. What do we mean by faith? Because the other ones we have talked a little bit. We haven't really gone much to faith. Briefly, faith, it means to believe in the existence, in the qualities, and in the potential of something. So for example, I have faith in water. I believe that water exists. I believe that the water have many qualities, such as being clean, fresh, and so on. And I believe that the water have many potential. It can eliminate my thirst, it can clean the dirt, and so on. Okay? So I have faith in water. When we talk about having faith, it's believing so in the existence, qualities, and functions of some potential of something. So, I have faith in Buddha. I believe that Buddha exists. I believe that Buddha has shown me the path, and I believe on the path. He has the qualities of being of having gone beyond suffering, of having eliminated his own defilements, and he has the potential to show me the path to get out of suffering. So I have faith in Buddha. I have faith in the Dharma. The Dharma exists. There is the path to enlightenment. At the same time that it exists, it has qualities as being a correct path to enlightenment, as being a coherent way of seeing and showing reality, and so on. And it has a very strong potential of guiding me and taking me out of the circle of suffering. So I have faith in the Dharma. Okay? So when we talk about faith, basically there are two types of faith. One is the so-called blind type of faith. Is the faith that is based on belief someone told me. And the second type of faith is the faith based on experience. So, the faith that we need mostly to develop is the faith based on experience. For example, why I have faith in water? Because I have drank water myself, I have tried, I have seen its works. When I was a small kid, I was thirsty. My mother gave me water, and so I have a long experience that water is working to eliminate my own thirst. So what I do when I am thirsty, I go to look for water. Okay? So in this way, what happens is that faith is something that is very strongly based on our experience. So why do we need to cultivate faith? Because sometimes, often actually, we tend to forget about things that we already know. And very obvious things also. So, especially, maybe we do have faith in our Guru, we have faith in the Dharma, we have faith in the Buddha, but sometimes we forget a little bit about it. So we need to cultivate it, we need to remember it. So what we will do here now is, at the moment of prostration, we are inducing ourselves in this state of faith, respect, gratitude, humbleness, humility, in a way that afterwards we get familiarized with this state so that it may be able to come and generate spontaneously again. Okay? So this is what we do. Now we go to the actual verses. Okay. Now, let's go to see the actual verses of prostration. So we go from verse 18 to verse 22. Okay. So, the verses here are basically remembering the qualities of Guru Buddha. If we make an essence, we have 5 verses. The first verse is referring to the qualities of the subtle body, or the Sambhogakaya, or emanation body of Buddha. The second verse is referring to the qualities of the gross body, or Nirmanakaya, or emanation body of a Buddha, of Guru Buddha. The third verse refers to the very subtle qualities of the very subtle mind, or Dharmakaya, the essence body of Guru Buddha. Then we have the fourth verse, verse 21, that refers as Guru Buddha as being inseparable of all other Buddhas. And the fifth verse refers to Guru Buddha as being not only inseparable of the Buddhas of the 3 times, but being inseparable of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and being a conclusion of the prostration. Okay? So, here we are basically remembering the qualities in different levels. So let's start with the reading of the first verse. Kange tukche dewa chimbuyi kusung goban chogen kejela zoze lama rinchen tabuku dorje chensha pemo cha se long. We prostrate to your lotus feet. Here is one thing, first of all, I want to say that in Tibetan, it's not specified if it's in singular or plural. Okay? If we translate, I prostrate to your lotus feet, it's okay. If we say, we prostrate to your lotus feet, it's okay. Both of the ways, it's a choice of translation. So when we are reading alone, if it's more comfortable for us to think about the meaning, I prostrate, it's fine. And also, when it says, O Vajradhara Gurus, it is not actually, let me see. No, it does not specify one guru or many gurus in Tibetan. In some texts in Tibetan, it's possible in Tibetan language to specify if it's a singular or if it's a plural. It's possible to specify both. But it's very often it's not specified, and you can read or in one way or in another. Okay? So here, if we are visualizing only one Guru Buddha in front of us, we can also say, oh Vajradhara Guru, your jewel-like body. We don't need to do in the plural. If we are visualizing in front of us, there is Guru Buddha, then there is all the gurus of the lineage and all the other Buddhas and so on, we go in the plural. This is in a profound way. And through your light, when he can, is talking about action. Create little. This is not content. Infinite Buddha help others perfect. See mind. It's a benefit and root pleasure. The essence of Buddha, the file it's completely I may experience. I can get anything constant bliss, joy. Assures me you have certain is the qualities, and you source of benefit. It's coming from the the middle finger and the ring finger, okay? And then you take the bell, and you bring the bell to your left hand that is in the height of the heart, okay? This is the correct way of doing. That's the way, at least the way how I have learned. So first you take the bell, then you take the dorje, then you take the bell and bring to the hand, okay? When you bring back the bell, you do the same way. You bring the bell with the right hand, and then you put the dorje. Okay? So we start playing the bell. Basically, we play the bell in 4 different moments of the practice. Most practices, we play the bell at 4 different moments. Okay? There's most of the sadhanas, which are. If we know this, then we can know more or less when to play the bell in most of the practices. When we do the invocation, when we do the offerings of sound, offering of music, when we do the blessing of the offerings, and when we do the Vajrasattva mantra of purification. Okay? The reason is, when we do the invocation, traditionally, when you invite someone, you play music. So maybe you have seen during long life prayers that when Rinpoche is coming, there are monks coming in front, playing instruments and so on. Even in the ancient times here in the West also, in the court where the king was coming, they would play some music before and so on. Until today in Tibet, this is being done. When someone important is coming, we call chanting, it's like inviting the person to come. So in the Guru Puja, we do it in verse number 14, second half of verse number 14, when we do Tedargon so dorje sumse hunge veser chagyui, then when we do Ranshinene yeshepana chedra yermetem par gyur, we play the bell in the second line. Ranshinene yeshepana chedra yermetem par gyur. And this is the part where we play the bell also, or we can play it like a singing bowl, or we play the actual bell with the damaro. At that point, we can play even much more instruments in this moment, okay? Then we play the bell also in the last line of verse number 15, in the 4th line of verse number 15, in the 4th line of verse number 16, and in verse number 17. We play the bell, and in verse number 17 we can also play the damaro, but let's just start with the bell, okay? Then we take the bell to our hands in verse number 6 and 7, in verse number 7 when we do Om Mahum. And we play the bell on verse number 8, complete verse number 8, which is blessing the offerings. And we keep the bell in our hands until we finish the part of offerings, until the mandala offering, basically. Okay? So the moments where we play the bell is verse number 8, then we have half of verse 14, end of verse 15, end of verse 16, verse 17. Then when we do from verse 18 to 22, we play the bell in the second line as we do the prostration. Okay? This is just some small technical aspects. Anyhow, in another occasion, I will teach, we can make one day, one afternoon, whenever, just learning how to play the bell and the instruments, because there are many small details that are useful to learn in the right way. For example, when we play the bell, you don't play the bell with your whole arm. No? It's not like, not doing like this. When you play the bell, basically, you're supposed only to move actually the fingers. No? So you see. So when we close, we move a little bit the whole hand. But normally when we are playing, we are just doing the movement with the fingers, okay? So anyhow, there are some small details, and we need to do it one day together. Everybody needs to try to play and so on. It's not the moment right now. Now, that's why I said there are some exceptions. It's not that you do prostration, it's not that you play the bell only in this. When you do prostrations, there is this way of doing prostrations where you do, first you bring the Vajra forwards, then you play the bell, you do the lotus turning, and you do prostrations. This is one of the ways of doing prostration, okay? So the second instance where we play the bell is when we bless the offerings. That's verse number 6 and 7 and 8, okay? We play the bell at that moment. Another instance when we play the bell is when we do purification, Vajra Sattva mantra. This is not happening in the Guru Puja. In many other practices, yes. Then the other moment where we play the bell is when we do the actual offerings of sound. In this case, in Guru Puja, it will be verse number 30. Okay, verse number 30, and then again verse number 31. Okay, these two verses we offer sound. So these are most of the times. When we do the invocation, we play the bell, and when we do the purification, we play the bell because the sound of the bell helps us to remember about emptiness. Because the sound is something that is there, but if you try to catch it, can you point a finger where is sound? No. Similar to that, reality exists, it appears, but if we analyze and we try to catch it, we cannot find it. Okay? So, the sound, the bell, represents the correct view of reality, represents the emptiness of inherent existence. That's why we play it when we do the purification, because the ultimate way of purifying is meditating on emptiness. We play the bell, for example, when we do the prayer, Dagi Sambe Topdani Deshin Shebe Chintotan. Why? Because at that moment we are supposed to meditate on emptiness. So that's why we also play the bell. But these are some of the moments where we play the bell. Okay, but in Guru Puja, and also we play the bell when we do auspicious verses. Okay, when we do the Tashi Sho in the end, we do auspicious verses, we also play the bell. But anyhow, this is just a general idea. Now, in this way we conclude the part of prostration. Now we will go quickly through the offerings. Okay, very briefly through the offerings. So now, as we go through the offerings, we are not going to go into much details about it. First thing that is the most important thing that I want to share with you today about the offerings, we have already seen this morning quite extensively the meaning of why to make offerings, okay? But there is a connection here between the offerings that we make and the 4 initiations of Tantra. So, we have basically 5 different types of offerings here. External offerings, internal offerings, secret offerings, offerings of emptiness, and offerings of medicine and service. This is the 5 offerings that we make. The external offerings are related directly to the vase empowerment. Okay, I'm not going to go into details now about the 4 empowerments. As we have, like in self-healing, during the part of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas and Vajra Master initiation, we have the vase empowerment. Then the Omani Peme Hum part is the secret empowerment. Mahasukha is the wisdom empowerment. Vishwashanti is the word empowerment, okay? I'm not going to go into details about that right now, but basically it's 4 levels of purification of our mind, from the gross to the very subtle level. Anyhow, the external offerings relate directly to the vase empowerment, which goes from verse 23 to verse 33. Okay? Yeah. Then we have the internal offerings, which is verse 34, relates directly to the secret empowerment. Verse 35, secret offering, which refers to the wisdom empowerment. Verse 36, we have the emptiness offering, which refers to the word empowerment. And verse 37, medicine and service offering, which refers to the key to keeping correctly our commitments. When we take the initiations, after we need to keep the samayas, keep our commitments. So, basically, the offerings are directly related to the 4 initiations and keeping our commitments. Okay? So once again, external offerings, verse 23 to verse 33, and all the rest is 1 verse per type of offering. So external offerings, vase empowerment. Internal offerings, secret empowerment. secret offerings, wisdom empowerment, emptiness offerings, word empowerment, offerings of medicine and service, keeping the samayas. Okay? So this is basically. Then, the external offerings are basically offerings of water. We have 4 types of water, which is offered water to drink, water to wash the feet. Then we have, after that, water to refresh the mouth, water to refresh the body. Then we have, after that, flower, incense, light, perfume, food, and music. Then we have the offerings of the 5 senses, which is form, sound, smell, taste, and touch. So this is the offerings, the external offerings that we do. After this, we have the external offerings of the mandala offering, but this we will not go into it right now, okay? When we do the offerings with the mudras, we visualize that from our heart, many deities of offerings emanate, going to Guru Buddha, bringing the offerings and then reabsorbing back into our heart. So if we recite the verses slowly, we can, in the beginning of every offering, we open with the left hand forward, we turn the mudra, and then we do the first offering. Then we close again, visualizing that the deity has gone, made the offerings, and come back and reabsorb into our heart. When we don't have so much time because we recite more quickly, then we open the first time, and then we do the offerings, one after the other. No? And then we close by the end. Okay? So what we visualize that the deity that the offering deities go, do the offerings, come back and reabsorb into our heart. Okay? So I will just go quickly through the verses here for you. So we have verse 24 is offering of water. Verse 25, offering of flowers. 26, offering of incense. 27, offering of light. 28, offering of perfume. 29, offering of food. 30, offering of music. 31, offering of form, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Okay? This is how it's divided. The verses are very simple to understand. There is no mystery in any one of them, actually. Very simple verses. Okay? So, as we recite these verses, we imagine the deity is going during the offerings and then reabsorbing back into our heart. Okay? So, in this way, we conclude for today. And the Guru Puja, there are many levels of understanding, and slowly, we will always get a better understanding of it. It's important to remember that it's a practice to do, not a simple recitation. So the next time we will go through the explanation of the mandala offering and so on. I wanted to finish more during this weekend, but I prefer to do less, explaining things in a better way, than to do a lot in a hurry and superficially. Okay? And remember, it's more important for us now to understand why to make offerings than what are the actual types of offerings and so on. Okay, that's why I put emphasis on that today also. Jetsun Lama kutse raptenchi namkar tinle cholchur gepadang losan tempe dreme sasumgi drove Michel tato negyorchi nimo dele tsende kuyan delekshi Ninsen takto delekpe koncho sumge jinge lo koncho sumge ngodrup tsol koncho sumge trashisho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, May the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. Treci de le.